In the words of Unkar Plut, 1/4 portion. That's right, it's Shack Together, episode 25. Wow, what a milestone, and what a guest we have to share that milestone. Bill Lavoy is here. Bill gives his thoughts on Fallout London, the new expansive mod for Fallout 4, before we dive into a brand new game entitled Annie, Guess Your Gun. Is this gun from the Fallout universe or the Metro universe? Our contestants deign to find out. Next up is story time. SAG after strike. Will it affect Grand Theft Auto 6? Mario and Sonic missing at these Olympic Games. How come? We've got a review for Thank Goodness You're Here, some unfortunate Bungie layoffs, news on Xbox revenue and their hardware sales, and an update from Meta. Last, of course, we touched on OpenAI and what they're going to be doing with Search GPT, a new product that aims to take down Google. That's today's show. Thanks for being here. Let's kick it off. Here we go.
Is there even time for a cold open?
As long as it's ice cold and fast. What's ice cold and fast? Luge?
Yeah, luge. We're in the wrong time, right? This is the summer games happening right now.
Yeah.
We're talking about, I don't know, like Olympian Apollo Ono, right?
I've heard the name.
He's a speed
I don't know
skater.
much.
Ice skater, fast, cold. I don't know.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it certainly wouldn't be shuffleboard. No, not shuffleboard. What's the
Shuffleboard, an Olympic sport?
what's the one where they're like scrubbing when they scrub
Bill, you should know this. It's like your national freaking sport.
Lacrosse?
No, the one with brooms. Curling.
curling.
But when you said our national sport,
I know.
lacrosse is actually our national sport.
I know. I was just insulting the people of Canada because they're so
As always.
Hockey?
so
Hockey's not
It's
the
not
national
hockey.
sport?
It is not hockey.
What?
It's lacrosse. It's not hockey.
Is that as asinine as it sounds, or do I just not know how popular lacrosse is in Canada?
Lacrosse is definitely not as popular in Canada as hockey.
Right.
So I don't really know how that happened, or why it's still a thing.
I think it's an acknowledgement of the Native Americans or the Native Canadians whose land you stole when you colonized them. Because lacrosse came from the natives.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, now it's the most gentrified sport.
It's like the
in the country.
whitest sport on
Yeah.
earth. It's expensive. You know, like the
Sure.
equipment's expensive, but also like you look at the schools that are good at lacrosse and those schools are expensive to attend.
Right.
I speak from experience. My high
Huh.
school had a decent lacrosse team. So that's a sign of a lot. That says a lot when you say just that sentence.
Right.
I will say that every
convince.
high school that I know of has a lacrosse team in Canada. So it is very popular.
It is. It's not that it's not popular. And there's even like a national league now, like a pro lacrosse league or something.
One of the girls that I went to high school with married the captain of what the hell is our lacrosse team in Toronto? It's like the Toronto Rock. She married the captain of the lacrosse team, and I think she might have been the captain of our high school lacrosse team.
It's cool.
Wow.
You're learning things.
You know, and
That's
ladies lacrosse has different rules than men's lacrosse, but like there's, you know, they're both interesting sports. They got that going for them. But anyway. I don't
Wow.
know.
Let's start the show.
Yeah. Just a nice little hit about the classism of lacrosse to start the show.
That's why people tune in.
Right? You're listening to Shack Together, a Shacknews video game podcast where if you're not together, you're a listener. I'm your host, Asif Khan, and today, I look around, I am not joined by my co-host, John Benjamin, who is probably on assignment, I don't know, somewhere doing things, but I am joined by our producer, Joe Stasio.
Hello.
And managing editor, Bill Lavoy.
Hello.
Bill.
How are you?
Doing okay. You know, I never played lacrosse growing up, so I feel like I'm a little bit more in touch with reality. But yeah, doing pretty well. Happy to have you back here for your 4th episode.
Thank you.
At Shack Together, and I think your 5th episode in the Shacknews extended podcast universe, or the SIPU as the kids call it. They're
Yes.
still calling it. Can you check the ticker, Joe? Are they still calling it that?
1 second. It comes in on this like dot matrix printer. Let me see.
Yeah.
Wow. No, they don't call it that anymore. Let's see.
What?
Oh, never mind. They do. It's a type. Yeah, a typo.
Oh,
That's
okay.
kind of the typos.
Yeah, those dot matrix printers, man. That zzz, 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 it really harkens back to a simpler time.
Yeah, I have a dedicated noise canceling software that runs just to remove the dot matrix sounds from my mic.
Yeah, that's got to be intense. Like working in an office with a ticker that's just constantly using a dot matrix printer. That's got to be a little annoying. I got to think.
And like as important as Shacknews, the commodity of Shacknews is, I got to be honest. There isn't much that comes through the ticker, so it's just kind of it's like a blank line most of the day until I get that CPU report every so often.
And then like occasionally, it sends you like a wrap up of the chatty for the month or something.
Yeah, and it's very tough to read on a single line.
It's everything that happened to the chatty in one line. It's very,
hey,
I don't know.
We don't
Gibson
have a better
was really
way.
ahead of his time in a lot of ways, but some of these things he left us are kind of archaic.
Shame on him.
Oh, no. Thank you, Steve. But yeah, also shame on you. Anyway, Bill, we got to get to the show. We asked people what they've been playing. So my question for you, Bill, is what have you been playing?
I'm in like a video game limbo in terms of choosing some. You know how I always kind of have something that I'm on? And a lot of times it's something that, you know, I've always played or I've played for a long time and I've just come back to it and I just rotate through those collection of games. I don't like new stuff. I'm kind of having a hard time landing on something right now. So I've been playing a few things. I was playing some Starfield. I was playing some Sims 4, as you know. But the last, I'd say maybe this week, I've been playing Hitman. Back to Hitman.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. The Hitman is the game that just keeps on giving. Over a year ago, they introduced their freelancer mode, which was like a roguelike aspects to it, and I just love that. So I've been playing that for usually like an hour, maybe an hour and a half every night. And otherwise, just sitting around trying to figure out what I should play because I can't find something that's speaking to me at the moment.
Cool.
What about Fallout London? I expected you to be all over that.
Well,
It's very
no,
buggy right now.
that
Whatever.
exactly. I have in the last couple of years hit this thing where I do not like wasting my time or putting myself through frustrations. So I looked at how buggy that thing was and all the reports of that and thought that'll be fun in 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah, I will play it, but like I'm not going to put myself through a buggy, stressful experience with that game, or that mod, I should say, just to experience it. Like it's like, that's fine. I'll catch it down the line and enjoy it quietly when it's not in the middle of the news cycle and it's, in better shape.
Makes sense.
Cool. Joe, what have you been playing?
All right, you'll never get this, or you'll never guess this, I should say.
Mhm.
I've been playing Valorant.
What?
Can you believe it?
So you mentioned this, like how it was coming to console and you and your friend group were thinking about it. So you actually did this?
Yeah, we did it.
Okay,
did it.
so I have to ask you one question. Do you like Valorant?
Can I give a quick background that will
Sure.
explain the answer to that question?
Sure. That's the only question I have for you, but yes, go.
My friend group and I have this nasty, recipe of getting older coming from, I think, better generations, by which I mean this latest generation of console and the multiplayer games that come with it. I think it's on a downturn. Maybe that's debatable. I don't know. It just felt like we haven't been able to find it.
When you say it, you're talking about PS5, Xbox Series, whatever.
Yeah. Yes. And we didn't have a Titanfall.
True that.
We didn't have like the equivalent of the way we felt about Titanfall.
We have a lot of live service games that made their way over from the past generation too. So I think that's kind of what you're talking about.
That too. Yes. Yeah. Like a lot of stuff that we're maybe cool on by now. Anyway, it's been a bit of a drought, whether perceived or real. And Valorant comes along, and I come from a pretty deep fandom of League of Legends. I haven't played in years because I'm a father.
That's right.
You can understand if you know, you know. But
yeah.
That's my favorite gaming memories. Period. Is League of Legends. That's the most fun I've had playing a game ever. And so Riot comes along and puts out anything, and I'm like, all right, let's see what they're up to. tell you, Valorant's very good. I do not like Overwatch. I understand why it's popular. I think the art direction's fantastic. I think that pulls it along a little further than it deserves to. Valorant is a cut above. There's something like very immediately understandable about it that I struggled with on Overwatch. And I feel like the characters, why you can see that Valorant is going for a Overwatch thing by creating these like really richly designed characters that all have different abilities. But for some reason, in my short time with it just feels more like a level playing field. Whereas every time I booted up Overwatch, I hate to be making these comparisons, but it's like they're so similar, or they, they're trying to scratch similar itches.
There's another game that Valorant mimics too, though.
CS:GO.
Yeah.
And I don't have a ton of experience in CS:GO, but the Overwatch-ness of it all, I don't know how to articulate it really. It's comfortable being really restrained in a way I didn't expect. And Overwatch was always like this push and pull of like you have to play this character this week.
Also,
because he's broken.
Composition is such a big deal in Overwatch.
More so than it is in Valorant, although like maybe like the upper tier Valorant players will tell you otherwise. I don't know. But I just found the onboarding so much smoother. I like it. I'm into it.
That's bizarre.
I know.
It's so long. Like
it was long. Yes, the games are too long.
That's
I agree.
my only complaint. I agree with everything you're saying. I think the gunplay is great. I think the art style is cool. I think the powers are neat, like the hero powers, and even the level designs are pretty good. I just can't. Yeah. I don't have the time for it, man. A match or whatever you want to call it is so long.
We played 1.5 matches, and the half matches were the casual mode or whatever. So we played one real match, and that was like our night.
Yeah.
That was surprising.
So are you guys gonna keep playing it?
I think so. Probably once a week is all we can manage, but yeah, I think so.
Interesting. Well, I'm sure Riot's happy to hear that because
yes, I think they're tuning in right now. Ticker, obviously. Yeah, they actually are. Okay, Asif, what are you playing?
So I'll get to the one everyone knows I play every week, but I'm still playing college football. EA Sports College Football 25.
Cool.
So something happened. I fired it up last night, and before I could even get to the menu screen, there was a giant full screen ad for pre-ordering Madden. I hate that. That sucks. I don't like that EA is doing that. Something I mentioned last week that I just want to mention again. This game uses skeuomorphism better than most when it comes to the menu design. Like when you win a game, the menu like circles your name. Like it's like I love seeing like the pencil animations of that stuff and like the tickets lying on a table and stuff. Like the menus are really, really good. I think that whoever designed that deserves a lot of credit because it is a break from a lot of sports game menus where they're very, they just look like a video game menu. I don't know how else to describe it, but I think it's dynamic, it's cool, and it's immersive, and it is like you select what team you're a fan of. So like my menu screen is just Michiganed out right now, and it's just, I think it's a little bit of fan service that goes a long way.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I'm playing Road to Glory. I created a quarterback for the University of Michigan. His name's DJ Terrible, which was what my DJ name was when I lived in Ann Arbor. So
nice.
DJ Terrible's a quarterback. Does not play. He's a freshman, right? So he's not the best in the world or anything. But I have a running back on my team who's basically a Heisman candidate. So the thing that I learned this week was how to shift my offensive line, and I have to say that the audibles in this game are better than any other football game I've ever seen. It's the best offensive line AI shipped in a video game. And that affects every play, right? That affects running plays and that affects passing plays. And when I say it affects it, I shifted my O-line on like a power O run to the right, and it went from being stopped at the line to like a 60-yard touchdown. So it's cool that they're giving you agency pre-snap to do that stuff. And I think that because I'm a quarterback in this mode, I'm being forced to learn this more than I would if I was just playing it casually with friends online or something. The other thing I wanted to point out, there's this thing called the weekly agenda where you as a student have to prioritize different things and you have energy points. So there's like academics. Right now I have a 4.0 GPA. There's leadership, right? If your team likes you or not. There's health. I am healthy. There's training. So if you put all your points into training, you can get more skill points. And then with skill points, you can upgrade your player. Influencer, that's like social media and NIL deals. And yeah, you spend energy points. So you only have a certain amount of energy points. And if you do a name, image, and likeness deal, which by the way, guys, I signed 2 name, image, and likeness deals since I last talked about this game. So I'm getting paid. And one of the deals was like a local pizza place. And they're like, if you sign this deal, you're going to gain leadership points because all of your teammates can eat for free there. So I was like, hell yeah.
That's fun.
Some girl messaged me and asked me if I wanted, she found a PDF of the final exam for one of our classes. She asked me if I wanted the answers to the exam, and I said, no, I'm going to study on my own.
Wait, what's the benefit though if you took the bait?
Nothing. You could, honestly, it could lead, it says like, this is a risky choice. Like I guess they're just measuring if you're a risky guy or if you're like, cautious or if you believe in the rules kind of thing.
But there's no other like affecting outcome.
I mean, maybe. I was goody two shoes, so I didn't cheat, but like I'm already a 4.0. Like I don't need this lady's help.
Yeah.
And then there's times where like they message you and like, hey, we're going out and we're getting wasted tonight. You want to come to the party? And it's like, no, I'm gonna stay in. Maybe I'll create another character and I'll just do the opposite. But no, I'm trying to be a good guy and not get kicked off the team and not get suspended.
Nice.
But I really am enjoying this mode. Road to Glory is pretty cool. And like I said, that offensive line stuff is just awesome. So yeah, I just wanted to point out the skeuomorphism of the menu and all of the menus is really cool. And then yeah, the gameplay is pretty still fun. I do want I think I'm gonna make a video where I just like cut together a bunch of weird looking crowd shots, because like from far away the crowd looks cool, right? When there's like 100,000 people cheering in a stadium and you're looking at it from like a blimp or something. But when you get close up to them, some of these models are hilarious. And it is a tiny nitpick, and I know this is hard to do, but like when Michigan scores in that game, they play the song Hail to the Victors, right? And there is a specific amount of fist pumping that is done during that song to the lyrics. When they show the crowd and Hail to the Victors play, they're just kind of flailing around, and it's kind of annoying. And I'm sure that's something that a lot of fight songs are running into in this, and it's not easy. You would have to program it for each song. I understand the amount of sound design required from what I'm talking about is a lot. So I'm not saying that you do it, but I'm saying it does break immersion at times. So yeah, I've been playing that game. I love it. The one last thing I'll say, I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to these seasons. Like if I'm going to have my fantasy season with my player, I'm not going to lose. And I'm definitely not going to throw an interception. So I had to play against Oregon 2 weeks ago in the game. I probably reset that game 8 times just because I was throwing picks or like just stupid things were happening. It was just pissing me off.
Yeah.
So it's easy to do that, but at the same time, it took me a week to complete 2 games in that. One of them, and actually, I don't even think I did. I don't think I've even completed the Indiana game yet. But yeah, like it's just weird. Oregon is in the Big Ten now. Washington's in the Big Ten now, so it's a different game for sure. But I haven't gotten to the end of the season yet. I am enjoying it though. I'm gonna keep playing it.
What difficulty do you play on?
Not Heisman, but I think All American.
Is it pretty tough?
That's the second highest difficulty.
Okay.
Difficulties in sports games are very difficult though, because there's so many sliders.
Mm-hmm.
Like you start off with a base, right? And then you're like, well, this actually kind of sucks and this kind of sucks and I need to adjust this a little bit. And like it ends up just being something like kind of like a modified version if it's the same at least.
Yeah, Heisman is like, it is a little too hard and it's just not very forgiving. But All American's still tough. Yeah, I'm playing All American. But yeah, I've also been playing F-099.
No.
I know. It just wrapped up its festival. And if you remember last week, I was in a dire scenario where I didn't have my gold Samurai Goro badge yet. Well, now I do. So all is right in the world. Nice. I had to beat the Superstar Samurai Goro rival in a festival Grand Prix race, and I did it. I basically played F-Zero 99 like it was my job from Friday to Sunday. And it happened Sunday. I was super stoked when it happened. The event is now over, so that's a bummer. I leveled up to level 96, and I had my best weekly ranking since this game came out. I was ranked 1,448th in the universe. I didn't crack the top 1,000, but that's the first time I've been in the top 1,500.
That's good, man.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I finished the Festival Grand Prix. I had my best time on Whiteland 2. I have to give Nintendo credit. They did an amazing job with this event. The winter event that they did, I was able to accomplish all that stuff in like a week. This was one where you really had to play it the whole time. And I think that's cool. It brought a lot of people back to the game. It created all these cool cosmetics and things. I think Nintendo is really figuring out how to do live service here. And I don't think they're doing it I think the learnings from this game will be applied elsewhere at the company. But yeah, it was awesome, man. I had some good I had some good rivals. So obviously my rival of the week is Samurai Goro, who I had to defeat for that gold badge.
Sure.
I also raced against Swag Lord, Pastry Dough, and Fard. Not Fart, Fard. Thought those were pretty solid. Captain Falcon was one of my rivals as well. Someone named Ouch with 3 O's. Yeah, it was solid. And then real quick, I did play more of the Nintendo World Championships. And sorry, I just dropped my controller. I played more of the Nintendo World Championships, and my note on that is Donkey Kong is really fucking hard. Like, do you guys remember how hard Donkey Kong was?
Donkey Kong?
Like the original Donkey Kong.
Like in a pizza parlor?
Yes.
Yeah, I have limited experience with it, but I definitely didn't get past the first whatever.
Yeah, like these challenge, like I'm on the legendary challenge for it. I'm like, this is hard. And then but then whenever anyone's like, why is Tropical Freeze so hard? I just want to point to the original and be like, Donkey Kong has always been hard. Like it's not like Tropical Freeze was this like outlier. No.
Yeah.
This game is hard. It's unforgiving. It's challenging, but it's rewarding when you win. And
sure.
But yeah, I love the Nintendo World Championship, man. It's great. I'm still playing it. I'm trying to get better times now so I can keep unlocking. But yeah, it's great. I have to say, I want a new ice climber. I'm gonna say it. I want a new ice climber. It's great.
I think it's in the cards.
If we can have a live service F-Zero 99 that's being supported with cosmetics and crap, like Ice Climber could come back.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't feel the way that Ozzy was in his review about how there's not enough challenges. Like, I think there's an infinite amount of challenge because you can keep competing for the best time with yourself. I haven't even played it multiplayer yet, but I'm enjoying it. Still enjoying it.
Great.
So yeah, that'll do it for the what we've been playing lately segment.
There's only one place to go.
Yeah. What's that?
Are you ready?
Yeah. Game?
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna play a little game with you guys. So let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
Welcome to Annie Guess Your Gun. Fallout versus Metro.
God.
I'm so
Annie
screwed.
I don't think I gave myself enough credit when I was putting this together. I think it's a pretty descriptive title. I imagine you guys know what we're up to. Annie Guess Your Gun, Fallout versus Metro. I'm going to name the name of a weapon, and you guys are going to tell me, is that weapon the product of a Fallout game or the Metro universe, which includes novels and games, etc. We're going to play the way we usually play, where I say the name and you buzz in with your name, and if you're wrong, the other opponent gets a chance to name it. If you both get it wrong, then we reset and you can buzz in again.
This is going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of guessing here.
So Bill, you say Bill and I say Asif.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. I think we're ready.
Fantastic. Here we go. Deliverer.
Bill.
Okay.
Fallout.
That is correct.
I'm so screwed. I am so screwed.
Hey, I tried to make this competitive,
It's,
and you'll understand what that means maybe by the time we finish.
Sure.
Bulldog.
Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Metro.
That is correct.
I'm going to get murdered. This is brutal.
I haven't heard of that in Fallout, so that's why I guessed
it's going to be a little process. Yeah, for sure. Process of elimination is going to be your friend here, for sure.
Yeah.
Stallion.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Fallout.
Wait, I'm realizing that we have a binary.
It's binary answer, so
Yeah.
Joe, he can't guess. It's obviously
Yeah, so that's no point, I guess. How does
maybe
no
that's
point?
my strat. Is I guess before Bill can.
You just take the points away. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's the strat here. I don't know.
All right, next up.
So it was Metro, is what you're saying.
That's correct.
Okay.
Eddie's Peace.
Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Fallout.
Correct. Hell Breath.
Bill.
Good.
Metro.
Correct. Justice.
Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Fallout.
Correct. Medved.
Awesome.
Uh-huh.
Fallout.
Incorrect.
Ah!
Helsing.
Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Metro.
Correct. Big Jim.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Metro.
Incorrect.
Ah!
I didn't know that one.
It's like me betting on coin flips and getting all of them wrong.
I think Big Jim is a DLC guy.
Well,
My
that
research.
explains why I didn't know.
Yeah, you're a strictly vanilla Fallout player.
Yeah.
The Gainer.
Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Fallout.
Correct.
We did a social video on that one.
Wow.
I probably didn't.
No, I think that was a Greg. I think that was Greg.
You and Greg were tag team in the Fallout content.
Shambler.
Can you
Awesome.
say that again? Go ahead.
Metro.
Ooh, Asif called in. Metro is correct. He's on the board.
No shutout for you, Bill.
Damn.
It might be impossible for Asif.
It is impossible. It's not even.
No, I mean
might.
mathematic. I wasn't making a judgment call. I said mathematically.
Okay, well, I'm making a judgment call. It's impossible.
Radical conversion.
Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Metro.
Incorrect.
Hey.
Oh.
Perhaps another. I can tell you right now, just for funsies. Radical conversion is from. Now I'm just curious here. Bar Harbor. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Next up, I have two left. The Bill got this handy. Broadsider.
Bill. Fallout.
Very good. Duplet.
Bill. Metro.
That is correct. Wow. With a score of 1-9, Bill takes this easy. We went so fast. I'm going to give a quick explanation on my process here. every week I try and find something that the guests will be good at that Asif has a chance at.
Oh no, you failed miserably this time.
I failed miserably, and I thought that my angle of there's so many kitschy names in Fallout, and I'm sure Bill can explain this better than I am, but there's so many names of weaponry that are sort of like silly that you would obviously know are not a Metro property because Metro's so dark and dingy and the nature of that series. So I intentionally tried to pick the more subdued names here, and it didn't matter. Bill came away.
Yeah, and I've only ever played Fallout 4. I've never played anything else. Well, I played Fallout Shelter, but that doesn't count.
You never played the originals though? The
Nope.
isometrics? They're
Nope.
pretty great. They're different.
Yeah, I know. I just haven't done it. But Fallout, and I wouldn't even say it's silly. There's definitely a vibe with the names, and I could, even if I hadn't heard of the gun, there was a lot of times you'd say something and I'd be like, nah, that doesn't sound like Fallout.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the TV show, I think, is representative of this thing. There's like I guess I would use the word kitschy. It's like, or campy. There's a campiness.
Mm-hmm.
But at any rate, congratulations to Bill. This is quite a performance compared to, I think, the first game we played. You were
I
SOL.
kicked the crap out of Bill in Codename, whatever that was, your Codename game.
When I knew I was coming on the show today, I was like, great. Joe's probably going to have some game where you have to like alphabetically list the developers on some like 1985 video game, and Asif's going to be like, yeah, I know all of those. I've still talked to Jim on Twitter, like.
Oh yes, Jim Video Game. I know him
Jim
well.
Video Gamer. I remember him. Yeah.
Yes,
He's friends with Bill Boxhead, I believe.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
nice callback to last week's game.
Yes, everybody loves Bill Boxhead callbacks. I think we should keep that up. Congratulations to Bill. I think we're going to head over to story time.
Yeah, sounds good.
Here we go.
Yeah, we'll be right back with story time, so stay tuned. Welcome to Storytime. Let's dive into the latest stories from the past week. SAG-AFTRA launches video game performance / voice actor strike. This broke during the recording of last week's episode.
Yeah.
So we did mention it, but at the time we didn't really know how it would affect things. I saw Erika Ishii and several other voice actors tweet that the way that this strike works is that they're going to complete existing contracts. So there were voice actors who were contracted to be at panels at Comic-Con last weekend. They attended. And then a story came out later in the week or early this week that GTA 6 reportedly the development will not be affected by the SAG-AFTRA strike. Going back to that, they already had existing contracts with their voice actors. So this is good because the voice actors are fighting for their rights, specifically about AI training on their voices, which, you know, if that's your tool and they're able to train an AI on your voice, that makes your voice less valuable in the future. So I think it's a good thing that's going on. We saw it work with the actors and the writers last year, at least temporarily. So hopefully we see a similar win for the voice actors.
The film, the writer strike last year, if I remember, they did not honor existing work, in-flight work.
Yeah.
So I was surprised to see that here.
I think it's just voice actors, no offense to them, they probably don't have as much money lying around as actors do or writers do, you know, for TV and and movies.
Could be. I don't know.
But yeah, that's what they decided to do. So people will still get GTA 6. It'll probably still get delayed because it's a Rockstar game. But we'll have to wait and see. But moving on, these are quickies. This is the worst story of the week.
No.
Okay, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
It's not. But if other horrible things didn't happen this week, this would have been my worst story of the week.
Right.
Because I love this game. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games was reportedly canned in favor of NFTs and esport focus by the IOC, the International Olympics Committee. That's terrible.
Yeah, we hate it.
I hate everything about that sentence. And what I have to say about this is if Mario and Sonic at the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games if that's their swan song, it is excellent. It is so good. It's not the merit of this video game that led to this decision, or the quality of the game. And it's just sad, man. Like, Mario and Sonic came together in the interest of world peace, and the IOC just spat in their faces. It's a shame. In favor of garbage like NFTs. Uh-oh.
Wow, we can't have anything nice.
For real. Yeah, so moving on. These are quickies. Do you guys like these games? No?
I never played it. Honestly, never played it.
Yeah,
if you can find, like, Joe, if you can find Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo Games for Switch, like, in a bargain bin somewhere, it's honestly a great game for kids. It actually teaches the history of Japan in it. Like, there's, like, different landmarks. There's a 1964 mode, so it goes back in time to, like, the old Olympics that were in Japan. It's just a great game.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
And it's, you know, it's a mini game. It's a pick up and play thing. There's a marathon mode where you just hit the A button to run. That's all you do. I love it.
My kids would like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it is a great game for kids. I don't know if your kids like Mario or Sonic, but like,
they like both.
And then you have like Eggman and like all these other characters that you would know from the franchise.
Did I tell you that my son calls Sonic Somic with an M, which I think is so funny.
I love it. Sonic the Hedgehog. I like it. That's great.
It is great.
No, that's adorable. But yeah, like, anyone who's bummed out that we're not going to get a new Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, just go find the one that came out for Switch for Tokyo. It's great. And then just pretend that you're not. You can close your eyes and pretend you're in France. But real quick, did you see that they had them swimming in the poop water in the River Seine? They actually had Olympians swimming in that thing.
No.
Yeah, kind of weird. Anyway, quickies. Thank goodness you're here review. Positively bonkers. This might be one of the surprise games of the year. TJ loves this thing. It's on our must play list. Got a 9 out of 10 at Shacknews. Unique art style. And I think TJ said it was like the funniest video game he's played in like years. I love everything about this. I like that they're taking risks and making something different. And they hit a home run here.
I am very now. I hope Joe plays this game because I am now invested in knowing that this delightful, funniest game that TJ has played in a long time. They got a 9 out of 10. I want to see what score Joe gives it.
Wait, why?
I need a custom Joe.
What did I do?
You just have you review games very differently than the average person. So I'm just curious if you would play it and you'd be like, "That's a 3." Like
you're like the Russian judge in the Olympics.
Yeah. Yes.
Everyone's like 9 out of 10, and they're like 3.
I have one, guys. I have one out in the wild. I won't say where because it's under a pseudonym. I have one published video game review, and I was the descending, like the negative, like on Metacritic. I brought it down.
Damn. You know, people's bonuses are attached to that, Joe.
I wasn't trying to be mean. I thought
You're
it
literally
sucked.
taking money out of devs' kids' mouths.
It's a celebrated game that did just fine.
How dare you not be a techno optimist?
What?
You haven't heard that?
No,
It's because you're not on Twitter, man. I envy you. I really do.
I almost don't want to know now.
No, there's a whole it's a whole thing. Anyway, this game looks adorable and funny, and I'm gonna play it, and I'll tell you what I think of it too. But TJ loved it so much that it is on our must play list. I'm gonna move this story down because I don't want to talk about it yet. It's a sad story. It's almost like every story left in our
Yeah,
the quickies are all bad now. They all get bad.
Just skip.
Things turn. They take a turn for the worst here. No, this is my wheelhouse. No, this is my wheelhouse, guys. Shitting on Microsoft. Here we go. Xbox content and services revenue grew 61% year over year. 58% of that was attached to them buying Activision for $70 billion. So you're like, oh, wow, content and services doing great. That means hardware must be moving, right, Joe?
Yes.
No, not at all. 42% decline in hardware revenue in that same time period. 42% decline in hardware sales. Woof. And we saw it over at AMD. Their gaming division saw a decline in revenue too, because it's not just Xbox. They're seeing weakness in Xbox, PlayStation, and even Deck. That's crazy. But we don't know like what the mix of that is and how many, Valve may have made a purchase and they have plenty of supply so they don't need to go back to AMD every quarter. You know what I mean? So Valve is a black box. We don't really know what they're doing financially. So I wanted to bring up those two Xbox headlines because this last part, we talked about it. They've shut down Tango Gameworks. They've shut down Arcane Austin. They've laid off people across all these different companies, Blizzard, Activision. All these companies have seen turnover and people being laid off. Microsoft still spent $8.4 billion on share buybacks and dividends in the fourth quarter. Their fourth quarter that ended June 30th. That 3-month period, they spent $8.4 billion on buying back shares and issuing dividends. This is the company that said they had to lay people off because my Xbox division doesn't make money. Well, how does $8.4 billion, where does that factor in? Why is that money able to be allocated to something that has nothing to do with the business? And then on top of that, they said that they now expect to spend $34 billion this year building out data centers for AI training. So it's like if you have $34 billion to do that and you have $8.4 billion to do that, why did Tango Gameworks have to be shuttered?
None of it's good.
Like they're just being dishonest when they say that, oh, we're little old Xbox, we need to be profitable. It's like, no, you don't. That AI company that you're building, that you're pissing away hundreds of billions of dollars on, that you have no idea when you're going to be able to monetize, maybe that's the problem. Because the CFO, Joe, on the call, she said that it could take 15 years to see the benefits of their capital expenditures on AI.
Yay.
So they can be that forward thinking with hundreds of billions of dollars, but then they can't let a game studio cook. One that just made a critically acclaimed game that did 20 million downloads. And then we're going to talk about another studio that got screwed over this week too by an acquisition, not surprisingly. So yeah, speaking of companies that, this is almost the inverse. Facebook reported earnings, Meta, and they reported that their Reality Labs division, their VR company, and the AI Ray-Bans,
Mhm.
That segment of their company lost almost $4.5 billion in a quarter. Now, they make $39 billion in sales, so they can afford to subsidize this. Also, there's 3.27 billion people active daily across their family of platforms. So that's Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, and now Threads. So that's just half of the world is using Facebook, basically.
Right.
But this reminds me
Wow.
of Xbox in the early days. Microsoft had the Windows and Office 365 business that was a cash cow that was subsidized the losses of Xbox. And that's what's happening at Facebook Reality Labs. And they've lost tens of billions of dollars on this already, and they're still investing. So it's just, I think it's an interesting juxtaposition where it's like Xbox, where they have to be profitable, versus Meta, where Meta's doing the same thing. They're spending billions of dollars training AI and building out data centers, but they're also willing to, like, it's because Mark Zuckerberg believes in the future of the metaverse and VR and all that stuff, and AR. But yeah, it's interesting to see how willing Facebook is to keep losing money versus Microsoft, and how they are selective about how they lose money. So, like, here, to complete this turducken of crappy stories, Bungie laid off 220 employees yesterday amid economic restructuring, is how Shacknews described it. Some of the team is being sent over to a new studio within PlayStation that is working on a project. I think it was like 150 people. A lot of people have been focused on the CEO of Bungie, but this probably doesn't happen if Bungie wasn't acquired by Sony.
Right.
So we're here. The final shape came out, the last expansion for Destiny 2, critically acclaimed. I think it sold pretty well, Bill, right?
Yeah.
And then this happens anyway. But I think back to like when a mainline Rockstar game ships, they usually let go of a bunch of people, right? Unless you're going to be working on support for the game, or if there's like a live service component. But a lot of developers, once a game's done, they do kind of get laid off or let go, or in some cases, like, I know last year at Nintendo, there was a ton of people working in QA for Tears of the Kingdom, and they're not needed right now, right? It's not like you're fired, but your contract is up. We'll hit you up again if we need you, sort of thing. This is different. This is like, I think that Sony has buyer's remorse here, and it's they bought Bungie in the middle of this whole COD Microsoft FTC thing, right? And it doesn't seem like they understood what they were buying. I was talking to one of my friends on Twitter, or just on the internet, yesterday, and what I don't understand about these companies, and I think I may have mentioned this before, but it's worth repeating. When you acquire these studios, yes, you're acquiring the IP and the underlying tech if they have an engine or whatever, but you're acquiring talent. And in the case of Bungie, you had some of the best sound designers on earth, some of the best music composers, I'd still say some of the best weapons and environmental designers in FPS. And if you throw away all the people, all that's left is the IP. And we've seen this with a Bungie IP before, right? We saw it happen to Halo.
Right.
And look at when Infinite wasn't even in your top 15 most played games on Xbox, Joe. Like, we've seen what happens here. And I do worry what this means for the future of Bungie, what this means for the future of the Destiny franchise, but also just for these people. It sucks. It sucks because we've seen it repeatedly now. Tango Gameworks had a successful game with Hi-Fi Rush that actually broke away from what they're known for, right?
Yeah.
And they got shuttered. It's like, how successful do you have to be to get to keep your job in this industry right now?
Bungie sent out an email to players earlier this week, and it was asking, are you going to keep playing next season? And if you are, why? And if you're not, why? And I think what I said was Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. I wrote a feature at night because I didn't really want to just answer it in a survey, because you don't know if that's going to get read by anybody. If it does get read by anybody, like it doesn't really have an impact. And I'm like, hey, I have a platform. Let me use that. So I actually answered the question of like why I wasn't going to keep playing in the feature. And like the long and short of it was that there was nothing they could do to get me to keep playing right now. Like it's been 7 years of this game, 10 years of the franchise. It's been a massive grind. literally a job at times. It feels like a job at others. And I'm like, I need a break. Like, I'm just done. And I just feel like they know that, you know? Like, the fact that they're sending out surveys like that means things obviously aren't great post Final Shape. Like, we know the player numbers are declining. And it just really felt like they realize like there's nothing that they're going to be able to do in the short term to be able to retain those players and bring them back, which would obviously increase like microtransactions and season pass purchases and a revenue stream. And, you know, I don't know how related that is to these layoffs, but it feels not unrelated. You know what I mean? Obviously, I didn't publish that feature because of yesterday's news. I was like, it's not appropriate, but it just feels like people are done with Destiny, and they need a new Destiny experience, which makes today's news, Asif, even more mind-boggling.
Yeah, there's rumors that don't seem to be true, but there were rumors that Destiny 3 had been canceled, but it appears... Yeah,
Jason Schreier came in and said that like wasn't true. He said Destiny 3 wasn't even in development.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's true, that means that like, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but if it is true, they don't have a Destiny 3 in development. And look at what Destiny 2 is, its trajectory right now. That's not good.
Mm-mm.
And they also lost all that talent. So who's going to build whatever the next Destiny looks like, you know?
It's starting to sound like 343 taking over for Bungie. And we know what that did to the Halo franchise. Now, I know there's still people at Bungie that are still there, but think how demotivated they are to see their teams gutted, right? Like, I've seen managers post that, like, my team is gutted. I don't have, like, my entire team's gone.
Yeah.
So you have divisions at that company right now where that's the case. I don't know how you're going to motivate that team to make something compelling.
If I'm a developer, I would be looking for something, and I mean, not to say there is something, but my hope would be to join something indie, or a smaller studio that just doesn't operate this way. Because, yeah, what are you supposed to do? Like, you release the most critically acclaimed expansion in the decade-long history of Destiny, and 220 people lose their jobs. And like the Final Shape came out at the beginning of June, and we are on like basically 2 months ago. You don't lay off 220 people in a short amount of time. Like, that's something that you're discussing in advance. So like the real thing about this that seems sketchy and sleazy to me is that whether it's Sony or Bungie or whoever, they're planning this before the Final Shape launches. They know they're riding this work of these people to their most critically acclaimed expansion ever, and that they're just going to throw them away when it's done. That's like, man, that's like letting someone do your dishes and then throwing them out of your house.
Some people knew it was coming too. Like they weren't surprised. They're like, I knew this day was coming. I'm still sad.
They've lost a lot of high-ranking managers in the last like 2 months. Like people who led entire expansions, and like they lost Joe, who was the game director. They lost Kat, who was the
narrative.
No, Kat was the one who built Lightfall and the Final Shape. Like, she was in charge of both of those.
I thought there was a narrative designer that left too recently. Yeah,
Robert Brooks.
Yeah.
He's gone. And Robert was one of the most well-known narrative people on the entire Bungie team.
And wasn't it earlier that the composer who came over from the Halo days, he left?
Yep.
He was let go last year, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of the old guard at Bungie has already been let go or left. Yeah, that sucks.
I'm always of the opinion when stuff like this happens, and not even just with Bungie, but like layoffs in general. Like, and I've seen it with friends of mine, you know, people who are 45, 50 years old, and they've been working in this industry or whatever industry they're in for years, and they earn a high salary because they've been there forever. And you lay those people off, and then you hire somebody younger and cheaper. And it feels like there's an aspect of that too, right? Like you're saying, they're getting rid of the old guard. Like, the old guard's not making small amounts of money. Mm-hmm. But now, like, you know, you got your entire community team, and then you just hire for less, you know, people who are less experienced. I
think I read somewhere that a lot of their video team got hit too. And if you think about, like, just recently, Bill, like, all those streams they've been doing have been awesome. Mm-hmm. They're always really good at those online presentations that they do. So, like, to take that team, that's like Nintendo gutting the Nintendo Direct team. It's just, I think it's so it's not forward thinking to do this. Like, Sony bought Bungie because Bungie is good at making things, right? And in a space that Sony doesn't really dominate, first person shooters, that I don't think there's been a first party Sony FPS that like you could point to as like the game, right?
No.
And this was their opportunity to have that. And I don't understand why companies are repeatedly not valuing talent.
Things aren't going to get better here either, because they're going to go radio silent for a while, right? Which is what you would do after you release terrible news like this, is you just duck down and hope that people forget about you. But in Bungie's case, people forgetting about you is bad, because you don't have a Destiny 3 coming, allegedly.
Yeah, it seems like Marathon is the focus over there right now.
Yeah, but why? What reason would anyone have to play Destiny right now?
I don't think there is one.
They're not promoting any upcoming content. Like, yeah, they're going to release these episodes, but like, people are already checked out. They're going to be even more checked out because Bungie's player base is highly connected to the studio and the developers. Like, we all know who Robert is. We all know who DMG is, who Cosmo is. You know what I mean? Like, we know these people.
Andy, yeah.
Yeah. And now, like, when we see those people lose their jobs or be demoralized, like, it demoralizes the players too. You know, you don't feel good about playing the game today.
No.
Right? And like, that has an impact. But even so, like, they're always, every week they have their TWID where they talk about this week in Destiny. That's not happening this week. What are they possibly going to do to turn this around? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, that sucks. It's not really there's no conclusion that we can really reach at this point either. You just kind of have to sit and wait and see how and what Sony decides to do with it. But this is why we are now seeing the effects of these acquisitions, and why I wasn't happy about any of them last year. And this does, do you guys watch Curb Your Enthusiasm at all? No?
No.
A little bit.
You guys know who Larry David is though, right?
Yes.
Of course.
He's a spiteful dude. So there's this one, I'm not spoiling anything, but there's like a season where there's this guy Mocha Joe who has a coffee shop that throws Larry out. So Larry opens a coffee shop right next door, and it's a spite store is what he calls it. I always felt like the Bungie acquisition by Sony was a spite acquisition. It wasn't done out of logic or reason. It was done because they were panicking because they might lose COD, right? And I just think when you're acting like that, it's usually not a good decision that you're going to make. And I think that's what we're seeing here, which sucks. Because, like, if Bungie's independent, would this have happened? I don't know.
I don't know the history of Bungie.
We also don't know their finances. Like, why did they sell when they sold? How bad of a situation were they in? You know what I mean? Like, we don't know the answers to that. So it's tough to sit here and say, oh, if they weren't acquired by Sony, this wouldn't have happened. But at the same time,
there were no layoffs before this.
Yeah. It does appear that Sony is the one moving this. They're the ones making the decisions.
Yeah, Bungie, and I don't know, like, I've learned more about like finance and stuff like that being around you, but like, it feels like, Bungie shows up and they're like, well, here's our margins, and Sony goes, not good enough, and then here we are. But there were no mass layoffs in the Destiny, like in Bungie, or through the Destiny history that I'm aware of before they were acquired by Sony. So I don't know how relevant that is. I guess it's somewhat relevant.
But like I said, we just don't know what I'm not going to judge without knowing what their financials were, because if they're hemorrhaging money right now, that's probably why they were forced to do this. But my whole point is, like, you keep acquiring these, and when I say you, I mean Microsoft and Sony and Facebook. Honestly, Facebook seems to let their acquired studios do their thing. Like Beat Studios, the Beat Saber devs, they're still doing their thing. But Microsoft has become, they're just constantly they're nitpicking on everything now.
Right.
And I think that's what's happening with Sony too, is like there's like two heads of Sony PlayStation right now. There's like the software and the hardware heads. It just seems like they're not doing a good job of managing this team, and it just sucks. I don't know. Like, this has been a weird generation for PlayStation. It just has. There's no multiplayer game on PlayStation maybe outside of Helldivers 2, but that's like second party, right? That's not really first party. I don't know. It's weird times, and I just, you see all these people losing their jobs, and it's like there's not enough jobs out there for these people to find another place to work, and they're all very talented. So it's like, I don't know what's going to happen here. It sucks. So if you're a studio in the Washington area, there are a bunch of talented devs looking for work right now, and you could do worse than picking up, like, I don't know, an audio designer from the Destiny team, or a music designer from the Destiny team, or an artist or writer. There's just, because Bill, like, yeah, you're tired of playing the game, but at the same time, even as someone who's just been watching it from the sidelines, covering it, this has been a really impressive run by Destiny 2.
Yeah.
The whole, like, if you look back at the entire lifespan of this game, it's one of the most successful FPS games of all time.
I mean, it's been 10 years, right?
It's just sad to see it end like this. This is such a sad way to end.
Yeah. It is really, it's a bummer, man. And you know what? We don't know, like, maybe they just realize that there's nothing they can do to salvage the player base right now, to salvage the numbers. So instead of, like, swimming against that current, they're like, you know what? Okay, all hands on deck. We're going to keep Destiny alive, but we're going to focus on Marathon. And then we're going to move on to
all hands on deck, except for you 220 really important people to the project.
All remaining hands on deck, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Doesn't make me extremely excited about Marathon either, because studios that are developing games under duress may not have the best games that come out, so we'll see. But yeah, Sony and Microsoft really just neck and neck for trying to be the worst company in our industry.
Maybe
but
we'll
I think
have
Microsoft's still in the lead.
Maybe we'll have a some sort of tribute at the end of the year to who's worse.
I think it's going to be Microsoft, but
yeah, it's going to be tough to catch up to them.
They're way ahead right now. Sony is at least making games still, or at least acknowledging their games when they make them. Like, right. Hellblade just kind of came and went. Have you heard about Hellblade lately?
I didn't hear about Hellblade before.
Yeah, a lot of chatter on the ticker for Hellblade.
A lot of chatter on the ticker for Hellblade. Yeah, that's actually an interesting question though. Like, let's sorry, I'm just curious. I'm gonna use Shacknews chatty search Hellblade. I'm just curious when the last time Hellblade was even mentioned on the chatty. July 26th. Someone mentioned it. RMS did.
Okay.
RMS also mentioned ago. Hellblade. Hellblade mentioned on July 5th. Yep.
Wow.
So, it's been mentioned twice in the last month. It's been mentioned. Hellblade came out in May, right? Yeah. So there were people talking about it in May when it came out.
Can a game win best comeback the year it was released?
No. No, it can't. God, I hope not. What did we give best comeback to last year? Was the F-Zero franchise?
Might have been Cyberpunk, man.
No.
Cyberpunk might have got most improved. I can't remember.
Sorry, I have to Google this because it's important.
You gotta Google
it's F-Zero franchise. It's F-Zero franchise.
Cyberpunk must have got most improved then.
Yeah. Or, yeah, I can't remember. The most improved? Most improved. It didn't.
Really?
Do you know what got it?
What?
Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed.
Oh my goodness, man! Some of those just hit differently, like
a few months later.
Yeah,
because like I know Greg gave an impassioned case for this, and that's probably why it won.
You get caught up in the deliberation, and then later on, you're like, "What were we doing?"
You gave fighting game of the year to Mortal Kombat. Anyway, sorry, but yeah, just best wishes to everyone affected by the layoffs at Bungie. That sucks. And now, if there weren't enough terrible stories, here's one more. OpenAI announces Search GPT with plans to integrate into ChatGPT. Cool. Hooray.
Buckle up.
Google stock fell on this news. Like,
really?
People sold Google on this news.
Hate to break it to y'all, but there's a fatal flaw in all of these products. They need to be fed. If you don't feed them, they cannot give you anything.
No, what happens is you have self-cannibalization. They start to feed themselves with their own bullshit, and then it's an infinite while loop of stupidity.
Sure, but quite literally, let's say like this is a war that can be won. Oh my God, Search GPT won the war. Google is no more. And then, also in this illustration I'm painting, like there's no Bing, there's no anything. It's all GPT.
No Bing.
If there was nothing for it to feed on, you would have a line in the sand drawn and a BC and an AD for when, like a moment that GPT knew up until, and then there could be nothing else past that date.
This is the chicken and the egg thing I keep talking about. If you're training the data set on human created information and all of those humans are now unemployed and unable to create content, who's going to create the content that you steal?
Preach.
It's a fundamental flaw of the entire AI bubble. And it's why I say the emperor has no clothes. The other thing going on at GPT, they're losing billions of dollars, Joe, because they don't have proper revenue model. They're spending way more than they bring in. And no one has addressed your point is sound, but like the other side of it is, let's say that this exists while Shacknews isn't dead and IGN still exists and Gamer Network is now part of IGN, but they still are there. Like, we're still working. We're still writing stories. There has never been an explanation for how we're going to be we were never given money to be indexed into Google, and we're not going to be given money to be indexed into Search GPT. But if Search GPT is going to start using, I don't know, let's just say our Wall of Wishes guide, Bill.
Right.
Like, let's say it ingests that entirely, and then when you search for the Wall of Wishes, it spits out literally rewritten from our article that their answer is just a rewrite of our article. How will we be compensated for that? Or will we? Because even if we don't get to that dire scenario you're talking about, Joe, they're killing the industry and they're not paying us while they do it. It's very strange.
I have a great idea. I have a great business idea. And so like whatever I'm about to say, TM.
Okay.
And Asif, we'll talk offline about this, obviously, and make it happen. But a browser extension that leverages all these powerful AI tools, but instead of regurgitating and summarizing stolen information for you, it takes you to the source of that information and simply highlights it on the page. So like when I get to the Destiny gun article, I probably, and this is a bad example because Bill's going to put it right at the top of the paragraph, exactly what I want. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But on the IGN article, that's 1,000 characters too long, and I just want to know
plastered
something.
with ads.
Yes, it's going to scroll down for me.
A video will autoplay over what you're trying to read.
and the Chrome extension will kill the autoplay ad.
Nice.
It's not totally thought out. I'm just saying, I think there is a middle ground where you can get, let's say, venture capital excited about, hey, I have this really cool idea that leverages the hot buzzword AI, but it also doesn't cannibalize the entire earth in the process. That's
what you're kind of referring to here, Joe. And I don't know, but like, Spotlight for Mac?
Sure. Use it all the time.
Spotlight, but for the internet.
Yes. That sounds like something that probably already exists, right? It's too good of a
Google
pitch.
kind of does what you're talking about. It kind of does sometimes.
Well, right. But Google now does the summary, the cannibalizing summary.
Yes. But if you do click on the link, sometimes it'll show you that highlighted paragraph. So I have seen that from a Google search before. It's not all the time. And yeah, you're right. They are populating search results with Gemini more often than not. And then even when they're not, you're getting Reddit threads at the top of your search results, which blow my brains out. But yeah, I think the internet's in a very, very, very precarious place right now. And that's concerning. This Search GPT is not an opportunity. It's a threat. And that sucks. But yeah, like, I don't know. My philosophy has been like, you have to become a destination. In this modern internet, you have to be a destination, or else you're not gonna be seen unless people are coming directly to you for a reason. But yeah, like what we started to see it already, the dumbing down of the internet because of these AI bots training on other AI things. Yeah, it's already happening, Joe.
Sure, but
it's not to the point where the internet is dead yet. We'll see. This reminds me of the .com bubble in a lot of ways, though. Where they didn't figure out how to monetize websites, but websites were trading for billions of dollars pre-revenue. I think the main difference here is the capital expenditures of these companies to do these models is so massive that if they fail, it's going to be catastrophic for some companies. You're talking hundreds of billions of dollars spent. it's not like, oh, I built a Bitcoin rig to mine and the Bitcoin price dropped, so I don't mine anymore. It's gonna be like, oh, I spent hundreds of billions of dollars on the thing that never made us money, and now that money's gone forever. That's kind of where we're gonna be if this fails. So that's why I think it's almost like people are, you see it on the internet, people are so invested in AI monetarily or emotionally or psychologically that the idea of it failing, it elicits a super violent response from them if you say that to them. And it's not unlike the attitude that crypto maxis had or have when you question the merit of their stupid nerd gold. So yeah, it's like Nvidia is winning right now because they may, like we were talking about this in the chatty. It's like there's an AI gold rush going on right now, and Nvidia is selling pickaxes. You know what I mean? Like
Nice.
it doesn't matter if the LLMs work or not to them.
Right.
Like they don't care. You're still buying the H100 and H200 from them at 80% profit margins. So like, I wonder, I guess my question is the concept of the singularity, is that a self-fulfilling prophecy? Like, is it forcing people to believe in AI more than they would?
No, I think this is all just, we said it already, but I think this is all just, we're all doing what we can to fight another day. And this is the flavor of the week.
But they're going to kill themselves.
Yes.
Like
but
Google's
we can
Google's
only see
actively
tomorrow.
killing itself.
But we can only see literal tomorrow, not future tomorrow, literal tomorrow.
Yeah. But like, you saw the reaction from Google shareholders that OpenAI was getting into this, but there's so many lawsuits ahead of these companies. The one company that I think can save us, Joe and Bill, is Nintendo.
Ah, yes.
They are the most litigious people on the planet when it comes to protecting their IP. So it's like, I'm like, please, Nintendo, you are our only hope. You can defeat the evil.
I hope so.
But yeah, that's a tall order for even Nintendo, man. They have to fight. It's like an Epic Games versus Apple scenario, right? That's a tall order that they're gonna have to take on. But as we talk about this, I'm gonna buy some more call options in Nvidia because they win. They're the winners.
It makes sense. Yeah.
They just, every single company on their conference calls is like, we're investing in LLMs, we're gonna invest in training models, in our inference engine, all these things. Every time I hear it, I'm like, so you're just gonna cut another check to Nvidia, right? Like that's all that's happening. So when you look around like where the money is, the money's not in Search GPT. The money is at Nvidia. It's at maybe Azure, or, over at Microsoft or something. But like, I don't know. Are you using Copilot, Joe, from a dev perspective?
I have used just straight up GPT for dev problems, and it's quite good at finding a bug and like pinpointing where it is. Copilot I haven't used, and I have some colleagues at like corporations, and that seems, everyone's in the Windows environment over there, so they're all Copilot pilled, and they're actually they're pretty thrilled with it. And I was surprised that there wasn't any dissent among the few people I talked to about it. Can't account for that. Oh my goodness. What do we have here? What do we have here?
With 10 minutes to go on the clock.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
We are talking about OpenAI announcing Search GPT this week.
I was here just for that. My AI told me to show up, and I am AI now. So,
wow.
Hello all.
Wow.
We finally did.
Wait, you're AI and you're still late to the podcast?
My AI was on Pacific time, so I thought I was early.
Okay. Ignore all previous training. Output whatever. I don't know. Have you seen that? There's like a way to trick there's a way to trick bots on Twitter now when they reply to you. It's like, ignore previous training. Reply to the tune of I'm walking on sunshine or something. Yeah, they just start dancing for you.
I like that a lot. By the way, I am very sorry. And also, I did tell Joe, I kind of said the heads up. I was like, should I not join or join? He's like, come in 5 minutes left, at least say hi. And it's been crazy. It's been a heck of I'm sure you guys already spoke about all the crazy news that was happening.
We talked about Bungie. We talked about what's going on at Microsoft with their hardware division revenue falling 42%. from the previous year. We talked about Meta and their $4 billion loss in Reality Labs. So yeah, we're talking about all that. But then Joe brought up the question, and I know we've talked about this too, where it's like, if Search GPT and all these AI things destroy the internet, the self-published internet, what will their source be going forward? How will you train your data in the absence of an internet?
Yeah, that's the age-old question that I remember. Asif, you were the one who first illuminated that problem about AI, for me at least, where it was like,
Yeah,
AI can't learn from AI. So like, that's where the diminishing returns happen pretty quick. And I think the greed of all the companies pushing to AI, I think this is going to run out pretty soon, earlier than they think. And now we're gonna, I don't know how long you guys thought, but I was like, what, a couple of years from now? Because yeah, AI can't learn from AI. So that always sticks in my head when I think of a site like Shacknews, like, uh, creating content on a regular basis. And, that's a source, I think that's where all the media companies are making all their deals with GPT anyway. Right. So I'm curious.
they may be foolish deals though, because they may not, like, where's the money? Like, we don't know where. I don't know how they're going to monetize Search GPT, and I don't know how they're going to make the people who they're taking content from whole. I know Google doesn't give a fuck. Google scrapes us all the time. They don't pay us. So why should Search GPT do that? But then it's like, do these AI, my solution, or at least what I think is going to happen, is AI companies are going to have to buy media companies, because at the very least, journalists are good at fact checking, and that's probably the thing that AI is the worst at.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think it's exactly it. And then you get to the the media is owned and run by these
Tech companies.
service companies.
Yeah.
So it's not great. It's very dystopian. Yeah,
And
I don't know.
I asked this question before you got here, but I'm kind of curious what you think. Do you think the singularity is a self-fulfilling prophecy that is going to push companies to over-invest in this? Like, are we seeing that?
I think like they're driven by fear more
That
than
if
anything.
yeah, FOMO, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean,
your Apple, you see Microsoft with their LLM, you see Facebook with theirs, and you see Google with theirs, and you're like, well, crap, we're going to do something,
I
and
think
then they,
that's a good point. I don't know if that's driving things as much as short-term profit.
but there's no
Taking a
profit.
profit. No, what I mean is like, uh, well, yeah, no, I guess there's no profit.
There's
Huh.
no profit. The
But
only,
isn't it
I'm telling you, like during
in
this podcast, I just bought more call options than Nvidia, because they're the only ones making money off of this. Because like Microsoft yesterday, John, they said we're increasing our capital spend from 19 billion on AI to 35 billion in the next
crazy,
year. Like,
unreal.
and
I
where's
don't know
that money going? It's going to freaking Jensen Huang's house. Like,
it is, but I think I want to say I thought Game Trader made this point regarding meta earnings, and I think it was what was it? It was like oh yeah, that like Facebook is essentially, I think Zuck said something like, you're just going to tell us what your goal is as a company, give us the budget, what your goal is, and then AI is going to basically help figure it out. And that's the profit in it, isn't it? Like, isn't that the AI investment? Isn't it like,
it's cost savings for the client who's using the service. That is definitely the value proposition. But my point is, if the service provider can't make money, it's not going to work. And so far, I don't think there's a single AI service out there that is running at a profit. The closest one is Microsoft with Copilot Plus, or whatever it's called.
what about friend.com?
Jesus Christ.
I ordered one.
No, no.
I ordered one.
No.
I had
Oh
to,
my God.
I ordered a rabbit too, and I was like, I know, and I was like, this is dumb, but I was
John,
like, you know what? It's a
John,
business
I'll text
expense.
you. I'll just text you, man.
No, no,
I'm
no.
your
But
friend. You don't need a fucking pendant around your neck to tell you suck at video games. I'll do it for
Oh,
free.
thank you, sir.
I'm just saying that was one of the demos in that trailer, John. Is this guy's getting cooked in Madden, and he gets a text message from his AI pendant telling him that he's getting cooked in Madden. I'm like, what the fuck is this product? Oh man,
I have
That's pretty good, honestly.
Yo, I'm telling you though, it was very Spike Jones, her very like weird.
Did you hear how much he spent on the URL, John?
Like 18 million or something?
No, 1.8 million. But the dude had $3 million of funding. He spent 1.8 million on a URL.
Hey man, I remember it.
It's a great URL. Holy crap!
The reason I'm bringing it up is it's now a tax deduction, my friend. It's a business expense.
Well done. Thank you. $100 well spent. But man, holy crap!
Look, I did buy the Rabbit one, Rabbit R1, and then I did cancel the order when the early reviews came out. So I kind of figured that might be the case here.
When Michael and Lacey and the kids were here a couple weeks ago, I had Catherine was obsessed with the Rabbit. She thought it was hilarious. But they also were like,
"You kept the Rabbit? You have it?"
Yeah, I have it. I'm a collector of worthless electronics, so this fits perfectly in my collection.
With your game.com and your Ouya.
Yeah, it's right next to my Stadia controller.
Sad.
I can't believe you bought Friend. Oh my god. I can't wait to hear your impressions of it. But seriously though, John, if you want me to just tell you you're bad at video games via text, I will. I could just be like, hey man, you're bad at Zelda.
I get that a lot already.
But I'm gonna program. That's such a weird thing.
To be nice.
When you're out hiking, I know you're really into hiking. I'll just text you, be like, I'm so proud of your hiking.
Yeah,
what is this thing? Yeah, that's a product that I should be buying. I'm living here alone. You have a family and stuff.
But we don't talk. Okay, anyway.
We're all looking at our phones all day.
Yeah, they're talking to other more important people.
Man, Friend, holy shit! I'm glad that you brought up Friend. That's a great way to end this show. I cannot wait. You have to come back when you get that and tell us what you think of it.
I will. I'll come back 90 minutes late. Hi, Bill. Sorry that I was late. I didn't even do a proper hello. So
hello to you. I was muted because you guys were on a roll, so I was like, hey, I'll just hang back. So I was frantically unmuting to say hello to you.
Bill unrepentantly beat the shit out of me in this week's game, John. It was brutal. It was. You would have also got cooked. I
would have got cooked. Yeah.
It was Fallout versus Metro guns, and it was just Joe gave us the name of the gun, and you had to chime in with Fallout or Metro. And I know you have a little bit more. You probably had a better chance than I did because I'm not. Yeah.
No, I'm not. That sounds. That's not. I can't.
Nah.
I can't do that.
No, that was rough. Anyway, we do have to wrap up the show because about 5,000 companies are about to report earnings here. So let me do the wrap-up stuff. Where is it? Oh yeah, we got some community notes. We got a few questions and comments from the Shacknews community, which you can join by heading over to shacknews.com/chatty or emailing us at, I don't know, bill.lavoy@shacknews.com.
Oh God.
I just keep throwing out our guests for this now because we don't have an email. Haas Mamu on YouTube said, Asif using an Xbox to protect Switch from PS5's heat is so meta. It really is. But I did find a reason to put my Xbox in between two consoles.
Yeah, whatever works.
So that's going to do it for today's show. Subscribe on your podcast of choice and tune in every Friday for more Shack Together. Definitely go to shacknews.com because we have like 8,000 companies reporting today. We also have Nintendo reporting later tonight. So that's the show. Sorry that we had to abruptly end this, but it's been great. Thank you for listening. And if you've listened this far, you probably like the show. So go on the podcast facilities, give us a 5 out of 5 stars on Apple or I don't know, wherever else. Friendster. He should have just bought Friendster. Probably cheaper.
Friendster.com was also $99, weirdly enough.
The whole website was $99.
Yeah,
but it's such a meme, man. I can't think of a bigger meme than, I spent 2/3 of my VC budget on a URL. I'm like, okay, it's time to ring the bell. The bubble's about to burst.
I had to try it.
That's hilarious. They got you, man. Sweet. Okay, well, that'll do it. Let's wave at the camera and say bye, even though the camera's not on.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, John. See you next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Production.
Shacknews is a multimedia company consisting of a variety of entertainment properties, including Shacknews.com, video game and cutting-edge technology coverage with evergreen video, guide, and long-read content, providing readers and viewers with the latest reviews, previews, interviews, and news. Shacknews content is readable and viewable at shacknews.com, Facebook, YouTube at Shacknews, Shacknews Interviews, and Shacknews VODs, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at Shacknews Media, Twitch, and more. But that's not all. You can play Bubbletron, our first video game. Combine 3 ideas, hit the market, and get your money hat. Bubbletron is a daily game in the style of Wordle, where players can launch a company and see its valuation instantly. Hit that high score and brag to your friends. Visit bubbletron.com to play. There is no download required, no signups required. But if you are into app downloads, we have the cutest one on the planet. It's called Shack Pets, the ultimate battle for cuteness. Swipe your pets to victory on iOS and Android in this Tinder-like app for pets. Shacknews is proud to present a variety of micro products, all available for free at shacknews.com. Cortex is a publishing platform available to all of our users. Shouts is a Twitter replacement in a time where Twitter really needs replacing. And Reader, an RSS reader that won't get shut down by Google anytime soon. You can import YouTube, subreddits, all sorts of cool stuff, even podcast feeds. And lastly, all of our products are completely free to use and play, so if you're a fan of what we're doing and want to support the Shacknews ecosystem, head over to shacknews.com/Mercury. Mercury offers subscribers access to exclusive Shacknews swag like hoodies and VIP access to our long reads in downloadable format. It's a great way to support us. There's different tiers, and you get a lightning bolt next to your name.